to wake up now. I want to wake up. Don't let me die while I'm like this. I want to wake up. God, don't let me die while I'm like this. Please let me wake up now. God, don't let me die while I'm like this.
Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what's popping in the pop culture. And my guest today, Josh Groban, I've tried to have him on a million times. He does a million movies. You know, he's on TV, sneaks into different things, and you know, you could see him in the hollers now if you want to. He doesn't make a CD every year, but it's kind of like every other year, and occasionally sells like a CD or two.
Yeah, give or take a million.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
But now, to me, this is like really exciting as like a Broadway fanatic. He is making his Broadway debut in a show called Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812. Now, my work is done here. So, there it is.
Thanks. So I just give it to you?
No, you're working
so
now. No, this is exciting.
It's so exciting. It is the most excited I've been since I was first signed into the industry at 17 years old. This is a new, scary, wonderful thing for me after so many years of making set albums and touring, which is the only reason I haven't seen you before, because I've been on tour this whole last year.
You're always on tour.
But it's a chance for me to both go back to my past and dive headfirst into the thing that got me started into this business to begin with, and also to try something completely new. So,
well, you're talking about acting when you say that, because you studied that first.
I was a theater major at Carnegie Mellon University. I was studying musical theater, and that was my dream. I was doing the lead roles in my high school. I went to a great arts high school. I was Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof.
I think that. I mean, I've only seen that clip.
That's
following you.
Played on the Tonys. They hazed me on the Tonys.
They did do that.
Yeah.
But yet, you know, as a high school Tevye, I think you're the definitive high school Tevye.
I can grow the beard myself now, which is like a high five to my younger self.
That's great.
But no, before that I was, you know, I did Woody Mahoney and Finian's Rainbow, and you know, wound up doing, you know, shows like Sweeney Todd and stuff like that at arts camps. And then I went to Carnegie Mellon, which was like, this was a creme de la creme class at Carnegie Mellon. It was myself. There were only 13 of us: Leslie Odom Jr., Josh Gad, Rory O'Malley, who's now King George in Hamilton, Katie Mixon. I mean, we were a class of wonderkins, and we were.
Were you obnoxious to each other?
No, we actually. It was very inspiring.
How disappointing.
We were so scared. I think we were intimidated by each other. There maybe was a little bit of coldness, just to kind of sizing each other up, because we were all the hot at our high schools before we got to college. So you know, we all were the leads in our prospective musicals wherever city we came from.
Then you're put together,
and we're put
with
together
everybody
in a room.
who was the actual king.
It's like the Gary Larson cartoon where God puts everybody in the glass and shakes it and said, "Well, let's just watch now." That was us. Like we all had to sing for each other that first day, and we all realized we had very different strengths. And that was, you know, testament to Carnegie and their accepting, because I didn't get into many other musical theater programs because I was not a chorus, you know, I couldn't high kick, I couldn't jazz hand.
Really?
I was a dramatic, moving baritone, and so there were only a limited number of those kind of roles, and so Carnegie saw something in me, and of course I rewarded that by signing a record deal and leaving. But I you know, I had an opportunity.
You went for that crazy music money, didn't you?
Well, no, certainly wasn't
It
the money
wasn't
at that
crazy.
point.
No.
They told me that if I actually wind up breaking even, it's like Vegas. That's a win.
That's it. It's good.
You know, walk away.
Yeah.
No, it was interesting, because at that point I was being courted by my record label, Warner Brothers, and David Foster, who had heard me sing when I was 16 at an event. And I said, you know, kind of said, well, this school, doing theater is what my goal, my path has been. And they made me an offer that was not a monetary one. It was one that was more of a masterclass life experience one, which was basically, you're in school to be a performer. This is an opportunity to see real world experiences, to make an album with one of the top producers who's ever lived. And so I thought, well, if I was going to school to be a doctor or something like that, then it'd be a real fork in the road. But we all knew as freshmen that at the end of 4 years, you showcase, and then the doors close. And you're out there in the world anyway, trying to make it.
Saying, what happened? I was such a star here.
Yeah, well, that can happen.
Yeah, it can
absolutely.
happen.
And a lot of extraordinarily talented kids have that rude awakening at the end of 4 years. And it takes them a long time sometimes, especially if they're unique And I knew, not, being a double threat and not a triple threat, that it might take me a minute after 4 years to find my groove. And so the fact that I had a champion at that age that said, this is unique, I believe in you, I think there's an audience, I had talked it over with my parents, and they are they're the biggest proponents of education, and my mom was a teacher, and they said,
once you have a teacher,
this might be a class you can't turn down. And so I took a leave. I didn't quit. I could have gone back in a year, but
that makes parents happier.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just a leave.
Exactly. Yeah.
I might go back.
I might go back. Yeah. Oh man, if I had to go back after testing out the music biz, it would have been like, oh well, I tried my thing. Did you see the haircut they gave me, man? Yeah. Anyway, I'm back. Didn't go so well. That could have happened. It was a serendipitous thing, that the stars that aligned in order for my music career to actually develop the way it was, because I was not an MTV. I got signed in the age of boy bands and rap rock. So if you didn't have a group or a video, what were we going to do with you? So it took a minute.
When you acted before, when Ally McBeal
Oh,
is
yeah.
like the first thing you do.
Yeah, that was the big break.
You
Yeah.
sing,
Yeah.
but at the same time there's a performance going on there, that you're doing this.
Well, and because I hadn't been released yet, my album had not been released yet, the greatest compliment I got was people writing in saying, loved the episode, who was the singer who was doing the voice for that actor? And so I'm like, oh, actor? Yes. Yeah.
Actor, that's
so,
who I am.
It's got a ring to it. But they didn't know that I was doing the singing as well. So, so that was a big break for me, doing that. That was, and I didn't get a chance to audition because I was going to originally be the wedding singer in that episode. I was going to sing for 30 seconds. Robert Downey Jr. and Callista Flockhart were going to get married at the end of that episode. It was, for anybody who remembers that show, that was at the time where their romance was the biggest thing in TV. And Robert Downey Jr. was having a difficult time in his life at that point, personal problems, was arrested, and could not show up to set. And so David E. Kelley had heard me sing at an event and basically said, well, can you act? I'm like, well, I just did Fiddler, two weeks ago.
I just did Fiddler in
the
my
high school
school.
Fiddler, man.
Right.
Can I act?
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
This is mine.
So he said, all right, well, listen, I'm going to write this.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh,
Sounds
really?
crazy.
Sounds crazy. No, he's like, say no more, kid.
You're
Say
the
no more.
one.
You're the one.
to do
Absolutely.
that.
We're going to take
no,
off the
but
fake
I mean,
beard.
you've had all of those. To have that at such a young age, where I guess it's David Foster that says, "Can you come and rehearse with Celine Dion
Right,
because Andrea Bocelli is sick?" Is that what's happening?
Yes, it was a lot of stars lining up. They say that luck is preparation meets opportunity, and I had massive doors that were extremely difficult to walk through, but they were opened, and I was very lucky for that. Yeah.
For me, the thing I saw you do that made me think you could act and you could pull this off was chess. And you did it at Royal Albert Hall.
That was a theater thing.
And it was a DVD. People should go look at this because it's amazing. Idina Menzel.
Yep.
It's
Adam Pascal. Yeah.
But there you are playing this part. There's not a lot of room in him.
No.
This Russian chess prodigy.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a very kind of calculated and cold character that has had, we chose an ending that we thought was the most juicy of all the endings, because in every time that the show has been on stage, they've changed it. Sometimes he defects, sometimes he stays, sometimes the American has won. It's like
the only thing wrong with that show is the book.
Is the book.
The music is great.
Exactly right. And that's why we felt it was so great to do it as a concert and to act the concert, because once you leave behind the music first aspect of it, the book is a little dense, and so. Well, thank you for that. I had a great time doing it, and that was, I think, one of the first moments where I really realized that I wanted to, at some point in the future, go back into theater. Yeah.
Well, and you sort of snuck back into it by doing that CD that's called Stages,
but
where you're singing all of those songs.
Yeah, but this was not part of the plan when I made that record. So I did a.
You have no master plan.
I have no master. Believe it or not, I'm kind
Where's
of flying by the seat of my
John? Where's the guy?
I have no sense
for
how to be shrewd in this industry. I wish I did.
Might as well still be playing Tabby in high school.
Exactly, and gladly, But no, you just got to kind of always go where the goosebumps are and where your heartstrings are telling you to go, and also where you feel scared. I think that for me, when I feel like I've been doing something for a long time, and this. Making this musical theater record was a scary thing, because, again, it took me back to the first days where it's like, well, who's going to want to listen to this? Is there an audience for this? This is a passion project. And then it did quite well. And then right in the middle of promoting that, I read a theater blog that they were thinking of bringing Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812 to Broadway. I've loved the show in the past, and you've seen it in the
I've
past.
seen it in the past.
It's a brilliant show that I have felt deserved that transfer for a long time. And so I reached out, and they wound up reaching out the same time I did. They knew that I was a fan of the show. And one thing led to another, and I had drinks with the creator, Dave Malloy, and the director, Rachel Chafkin, and we talked about both of our visions for the show. I'm a little bit of a different style vocal Pierre than the other Pierres. And it just we wound up totally gelling and clicking. And so the fact that we got the Imperial Theater at the exact time where my tour was ending, it just wound up being, and I've waited a long time. There have been other things I've been looking at theater-wise, and I just felt like they weren't the one yet.
Could have been Hamilton, you know. Who knows?
And my rapping skills, I'm not a quadruple threat either.
Really?
No,
the
I'm
rapping
not.
skills aren't there yet?
They aren't there. Only when I karaoke and get wasted, I feel like. And then
Oh, I wanna see that.
And then it's
Why
just
isn't
a
that
mix a
on
lot. Then
YouTube?
it's just Baby Got Back. But
No, that should definitely
that
be
should,
there.
That should stay in the room with my tambourine and my Zima.
I wanted, because of your music and the romance of it.
Yeah.
You have a following now.
Sure.
So to that following, you know, who I don't know if they're even dangerous sometimes because
Oh,
they come
they'll
after
cut you.
But I want to say that show is an immersive experience.
It is.
So wherever you sit,
Yep.
you too could be sitting next to Josh while he's singing.
Totally. Those are very pricey tickets.
They're very
yeah.
pricey. Yeah, they are. But there should be some kind of lottery going on.
I think we
Hamilton.
are. We're going to do a lottery too.
Yeah.
But because it really is, and I've seen the show because I was on tour and couldn't do it in Cambridge, so I went for a few days in Cambridge and saw it from every angle.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose to, you can see the show you can see basically 3 different shows. Depending on where you're sitting, you're getting a very different aspect of what's going on, including the mezzanine. And the balcony is one of the best views in the house because you can see down on the entire game board that we have down there. So. But
This better be a huge hit because they've just wrecked the
They've
Imperial.
wrecked.
Right.
The poor Schubert people. They've
Yeah.
what are you doing to our theater? We've taken out all the chandeliers. We're replacing them with ours. We've taken out seats. Our stage is snaking through the seats. So we are transforming this theater into a 19th century Russian supper club, and I love that about it because for me, and in theater school, we learn about just the idea that once they walk through those front doors, they're in your world, and you want to create the most magic experience for them. Because they've probably sat in traffic, they've been standing in line, we're going to be going through the winter, they're going to be cold, and when they come in, they're going to be walking through a war bunker, they're going to be going in, the doors are going to open, and they're going to be in this lush velvet supper house with paintings everywhere and this gorgeous stage. I compare it to like when I walk into a baseball stadium for the first time, and no matter how crap a day I've had, when I see the field for the first time, my jaw drops.
It's all field
and
of
I'm
dreams.
in baseball land.
Yeah,
and for the next 4 hours, I'm going to be in that land. And I think that oftentimes that moment only happens once the first curtain rises, and you go ooh, and you're in. But that moment happens from the moment they walk in the front doors in the show. And I think that even though they knew there was going to be some construction and it was going to take a lot of work, the Schuberts have been wonderful, and our producer Howard Kagan has been incredible in that they got it. They wanted that ooh ah, that magic of it to happen. And for those that saw it in the earlier incarnations, the tent and things like that, it was more intimate and it was small. But I was talking to Dave Malloy about it, and he basically said, well, at the Imperial, we finally get a chance to do it the way Tolstoy wrote it, which is to have this grand opera, this room that is where the chandeliers can rise like the opera, and to have this space, this dramatic Russian space, is actually more in line with the details of the book.
We should tell the people out there, because I've messed them all up now. They're thinking that they'll be sitting on your lap while you're singing. But yes, those are very expensive seats.
They'll be close, and we interact. There's no
close.
fourth wall, and the director Rachel is so great about allowing us, from an acting perspective. It's different every night for us because so much of acting is reacting, and there's to have that response from the audience where you're singing songs dead into people's eyes all night. You don't know what you're going to get from them. You don't know if it's going to be surprise or shock, or if they're going to be having a day, or if they're going to be feeling ready.
To have somebody doing this going.
Yeah. Well, then it makes you more challenged.
Why are you singing in my face?
And if they've got a phone up, Pierre is going to go ballistic.
Let
Let me tell you something. Listen, you don't want to piss off Pierre. He gets
you would
very,
be fine about
he is
it,
drunk
but
and ornery. Oh no, the rest of them they'll let you go.
He is drunk a good deal of the time.
He is drunk. He's drunk
a lot of the time. We should say that. I don't want to scare off people that think you're doing a 7-hour musical version of War and Peace.
No, it's a 70-page sliver.
It's a
sliver, 2-hour show.
that came from there.
It's a very juicy part of the show that Dave Malloy thought to himself, this would make a great musical.
And he actually was playing your part when I saw it.
He originated it.
So how did he feel about you kicking him right out of the...
I didn't kick anybody out. I don't feel guilty about replacing any original.
No, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
He wanted me in
he
there.
cast me. You know,
Yes,
he
that was it.
He made the conscious decision not to act in the show again, and at least for now. And I personally would love for him to do it at some point when I'm gone. But
yeah, you'll probably leave that show and then go into Hamilton.
and then I will be the 10th King George, which would be amazing. Yes, from your mouth to Lord
But
Lord
let's
Lindsay.
just say to those people who Pierre is vis-a-vis Natasha.
Sure. So Pierre and Natasha have a very interesting relationship in the book as a whole. They eventually, of course, get married and have kids and have a happy life together.
But not in this show.
Not in this show. In this time period, they are both going through great personal turmoil, which is why Dave thought it would be such a great section to have. Natasha's love, Andre, has gone off to war. So she's this 19-year-old.
And Andre isn't here.
And Andre isn't here.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And what goes down when Andre isn't here, you know, when the cat's away. So she is wooed by this Casanova, Anatole, who, of course, makes her wonder. It's like an episode of Maury, you know, but I love them both, Maury, you know. And so she loves them both. And so there's that turmoil of writing him letters to war, but also being wooed by Anatole, and she's confused. Meanwhile, Pierre is married to a woman that he knows doesn't love him. Pierre's come into a great deal of money. He's the guy.
She's a bombshell.
She's a hot, promiscuous lady that he knows is cheating on him all the time. But he's such a pushover and has all this internal anger that he just kind of sits with it. And so he's constantly drinking. And meanwhile, he's just contemplating the world, the war, the universe. Why are we here?
The guy has some depression going on.
Oh yeah,
there.
but there is that hidden chivalrousness to chivalry to Pierre. There is a grandness to him, but it takes its place through anger and confusion and sometimes wonderment.
I know that it's all basically resting on you. Yeah. So I'm sure you're feeling no pressure.
Well, the reason I'm not feeling pressure is that I know what an ensemble piece this is, and I know that whatever reason they come through the door, I know what it is they're going to get, and I'm excited for them because the ensemble is so extraordinary. My extraordinary co-star Danae Benton, who's so wonderful, Lucas Steele, who plays Anatole, Grace McLean, who plays Maria. I mean, it's this cast. Many of them did it in the original, so many of them have done it all this time. There are 28 Broadway debuts in this show.
Wow.
So the energy for all of us to be so interconnected, for all of us to be cogs in this beautiful wheel, is palpable. Like, we are just all so giddy and excited. So whatever. Yes, they're promoting me. My name's in the lights, but the music is so great. The story is so great. The set is so great. This cast is so great. I'm excited for the discoveries they're going to have, even if they're coming in because it's a fan of mine. I'm excited for what they don't know they want.
I think that's kind of a great thing.
Yeah.
I think it introduces another audience to the theater, which is really crucial.
And vice versa. You know, there are going to be people who don't know me from Adam that are theater fans that are going to come in, and hopefully it's a way for me to show another side as well. So it goes both ways.
I have to get you out of here, but the show always ends in song.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, rather than you did something that you've already done,
Yeah.
that you would pick something from a movie.
Yeah.
Give me a little.
Oh, now?
Yes, this is when the show ends.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we always end in song.
We always end in song.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun is shining through if you just smile.
Charlie Chaplin.
There you go, Charlie Chaplin.